I just got to jump in real quick and say, man, Marty, that was good stuff because there's nothing worse than a man with a tit that folds over. If you got a tit that folds over, man, you got to look yourself in them. Here's the thing. Number one, you need to go to the nearest bathroom where there's a mirror. You take your shirt off, grab a hold of one of those things, flop it around a little bit, and ask yourself if you're proud to be playing with your own tit. And if you're not, it's time to take this shit seriously. Come on now.
Hold on, Keith. I gotta add something else.
Please do.
Right? Those of you that are believers that of Christian faith, when God made man, He didn't want us to have the boob. I don't think He created Adam with the boob. I think He gave Eve the boob, but I don't think He gave Adam the boob, and I don't think that was His vision for men when He created the world. I'm gonna leave it at that.
100%. You listen. You can eat as much crap as you want. You can get those tits as big as you want them. They ain't never going to produce any milk. So stop with pretending. You got to remember who you are.
Hold on, Keith. I got something else.
Keep going.
And you confusing the baby. The baby think he's in the mom's arms.
That's it.
Don't confuse the baby. The baby's still learning. All right.
That's it.
Come on, man.
The baby's coming out selling for a tit right away because he's hungry or she's hungry. The last thing you want to do is put a nipple in there that doesn't work.
Daniel?
Now the baby mad at you.
The baby's not saying dad, it's saying mama.
If you guys want to learn how to create,
you guys are milking it too much here.
We have our new returning. I think we have a new regular co-host who's going to play along with us for the future. Our friend Daniel Hall, who's absolutely fitting in here. We started the show talking about sharding. Now we're talking about folding tits. So, gentlemen, I get your days.
Yeah. When you got to lift it up to clean underneath there, you've gone too far.
How far is too far?
And just so everybody knows, if you got yourself a set of these, I feel your pain. I was once there. I know what it's like to look in the mirror and I take a folder because I was in school, put it over my face. Like, damn it, am I looking at a little boy or a little girl here? This is terrible. If your tits look like a girl, you got to take some action.
You got some work to do, fellas.
Oh, my God. All right, we're hanging out with Daniel Hall here. Mornings in the lab with Keith, John, and Marty. We're talking sharding. We're talking inauthentic social media. But listen, here's the thing, guys. It's never been easier, ever. It's never been easier to make content that looks perfect, looks polished, even if it's not real. Whether it's AI-generated images, likes, misleading videos, creating fake content, creating fake news. It's just so simple now. You heard in Center Stage how somebody was pretending that they were John. So, Daniel, some people might say, come on, it's just the internet. I'm going to go put some stuff out there. But I don't really care. It's misinformation. I'm going to doctor up a photo. It's just not really a big deal. But yet it is. Where's the line, Daniel, on just accepting something, we're taking it out there for granted? And where does fake content go from harmless entertainment to actually harmful content? And I really want to go here in the next few minutes, Daniel, because I think people just aren't really thinking about how harmful this could be. Daniel Hall.
Yeah. So when you think about doing art on AI or chart, whatever it is, if you want a picture of a chart or art, it doesn't matter. You can use AI to do that. But it's when you actually take that and now you start talking about somebody sharding. And you're doing a deep dive in a post. And yeah, let's switch that up because you guys got my brain on milking the shark.
But real quick, let me dive in real quick, brother. If I want to go on social media and talk about myself and me sharding and me saying, hey, this is a lesson I learned, you guys take notes, that's one thing. But if you're going to create something and generate someone to put someone else down or demean someone else, that's a whole different deal. I use social media to share my journey, to share my vulnerability so people can say, you know what, Jesus Christ, Look at him now and look where that son of a bitch was. And the thing I always say is, look, man, I started off more subpar than most of you. And look where I put myself. And you can do it too. So I think that there's the flip side of the coin. Obviously, we talk about the fakery, we talk about this, but I think at the same time, we also have to remember that there's also a lot of good. And to find that good and focus on that good. It's crazy. We have to be really careful what we spend our time paying attention to. That's my fitness tips about. Or no, excuse me, my lifestyle tips about is. So I'll save that for a few minutes. But on that level, obviously we're talking about the fakery. But so Daniel, I was just jumping in real quick when you're talking about creating something that might be embarrassing or harmful to somebody else, when that's a story for them to share themselves.
Yes, it is. And the reason why I brought that up, John, is if I now take that post and I drop it into an engagement pod, I now have social proof that John is sharding, because I put that in there. I put that on a post. Then I drop my automated pod people to automatically react and comment on that. They have no idea what they're commenting on. They've agreed to comment on it, but they are now putting themselves on your radar because it looks like they're agreeing with it. That's why I wanted to talk about that, because you can really tear somebody apart on any social platform and make it look like social proof. And on the reality, in reality, it's just a huge social spoof.
So Daniel, man, the knowledge you drop here for us to think about is exceptional. Daniel, what advice would you give to me or to John or to Marty or to Good Time or to Arm or somebody listening right now? How do they know? How can somebody tell whether what John has shared or Marty has shared or what Keith has created is authentically from them? Is there a way to do that in today's world? Or do we just gotta, or do we have to literally look at every single post and recognize that it's fake first and then try to convince us that it's real second? What advice do you give folks?
Practice. You can practice looking at posts and do that, but having connected human conversations with people before you even start working with them or start saying they're the next thing since sliced bread, you have to have those authentic conversations with people to get to know them. I'm having conversations with you guys. I'm still getting to know you. I'm still finding my limits of where I can bring out my laughter and creativity. That's the advice that I would give. Now, if you're looking at the numbers, are always usually a telltale sign, especially the reposts and shares. Those are usually a good sign that they're using pods.
Interesting. Daniel, before we wrap up the conversation, I'd like you to define what an engagement pod is for somebody who's tuning in going, he's talking about this engagement pod idea.
Yep.
What is an engagement pod, Daniel Hall?
Sure. So let's say all three of us wanted to like each other's content. We might not know what each other does, but we want to get a group together, and I paste a post in there from a social media account, and I say, guys, can you comment and like on this? Sure. Great share. And that's all well and good. Those are somewhat okay. But it's when you get hundreds and people just doing that and just they're not even in your business side. They don't align with your business. That's just crazy. But it's when the automated stuff gets going, the automated platforms where AI comes into play. And now people it's like Ron Popeil and Ronco, set it and forget it. I join one of these automated platforms. I agree to like everything that comes through that I'm in a pod for, and I agree to comment on it. It doesn't matter what the comment is. I'll just let it fly. I just want to make people look like I'm engaging. That's scary.
The haters must be using these things, man, because those dudes come in swarms, man.
Yeah,
man.
It's like a pack of locusts, man. They come in there, they suck up all the resources, and they move on to the next one, man. Oh, it's crazy.
We're going to get to lifestyle tip here in a quick second to wrap up with Daniel Hall. But this is why I wanted to invite Daniel Hall into the show here. And my goal here is to do this again, especially as we get closer to the U.S. election. And I know we're not about politics in this show, but we're about informing folks. And I want you all to hear me really clearly. what Daniel's talking about is that one can easily create some content around the election coming up, put it into engagement pod, whether it's real or not real. It's actually doesn't really matter. Create the content, put hundreds, thousands, millions of people in that pod, and hit submit, and that information is easily and instantly disseminated, not knowing whether it's real or not real. And nation, that's happening today. I'm not trying to fearmonger you. I'm just telling you it's happening. So as Johnny says, if you're out there today going, I'm going to make a choice today, here's the choice. Put the work in. Just please put the work in.
Yeah.
Daniel Hall, let's wrap it up, pal. What's one thing you'd give somebody some advice today as they get on with their day with some of the things that we talked about? One piece of advice, Daniel Hall.
Be yourself 100% of the time, whether you're online, offline, talking to somebody on the phone. Just be consistent. Be you, because people will figure that out sooner or later. And I think what John was alluding to earlier is it's always going to come back. The bill is always going to be due at some point. And if you're faking it till you make it, people are going to find out what that fakery is all about. And they're going to see you in a completely different light, because I'll tell you from experience, people will remember the bad shit.
Yeah. Let me just comment real quick on that. I love that, Dan. You said fake it till you make it. That saying is so misunderstood.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it doesn't mean go buy a bunch of shit you can't afford. Fake it till you make it means do all the difficult shit that nobody can see until you make it. It's don't look at this from the side of, okay, I'm going to go leverage myself and buy some crazy car that I can put in my posts. Look at it from the side, okay, I'm going to get up earlier than everybody else. I'm going to do the shit that nobody else is willing to do so I can make it. So don't confuse that statement. Somehow, some way, people took that the wrong direction. It gets a lot of people in trouble.
Very true. Hey, listen, you're hanging out with Keith, John, Marty, and our guest, Daniel Hall. Daniel, you come back and see us again, brother. Listen, let's do this again as we're heading closer to the U.S. elections in a month. Can we do this again, brother? Because
absolutely.
I want to keep informing the world. I want folks to know they can come by Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and Marty and get the information they're not getting anywhere else, because we're having the conversations here that nobody's having anywhere else. Daniel, my brother, you go take care of your family. Take care of yourself. We'll see you again. Okay, pal?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, Daniel.
Awesome.
Thank
Hey,
you, Daniel.